So you've heard of UX research and you're wondering if this is something you could do. In this video, let's see what are the top skills a UX researcher is expected to have. I'm Ash Montes, I work as a UX researcher, and I started in this field a bit by accident. In fact, before starting out, if you had asked me to guess about skills related to UX research, I would have said studying or reading, the things associated with research. But there's so much more than that. Let me show you. Here are some job descriptions I found online. Do you notice some requirements repeating themselves? Knowledge on research methods, yes. Clear communication of findings and recommendations, presentation skills. Collaboration with designers, product managers. And as a side note, when we speak about UX research roles, this would also apply to titles like design researcher, product researcher, or user researcher. At least today, these terms are used interchangeably. Another UX researcher called Zombo Banerjee has compiled his analysis on UX research job descriptions in 2021. We can see what are the things that stand out nowadays. Some of the things are the expected, so obviously knowledge on different research methodologies and the ability to decide which approach is recommended at any given time, knowledge of UX design, UI, how digital product works. But you see other themes coming up. So collaboration with team members, the ability to understand their side, their perspective. It's kind of this exercise of thinking about the other. This means finding a way to relate to coworkers and colleagues. This is one that people ask about. It's difficult to evaluate in job interviews. Still, it's there, it shows up all the time, and flexibility is another common theme. It points out to this need to adapt to constraints. It could be time, technology, circumstances. It's a good reminder because UX research does not usually go according to plan. You have technology glitches or things moving super fast, the script that needs adjustment at the last minute, and of course, the research participant who is the ultimate wild card. You never know how it will play out. Another classic is great communication skills. Why is there so much emphasis on communication skills? Because you'll be explaining to others what you found out in the research, and they should A, understand, and B, care about it. So that means you have to be clear to make sure people understand what you're sharing. And you have to be persuasive or engaging or credible. All these words, they're kind of associated with this ball of communication skills. What I've noticed is from the company's perspective, there's this expectation that great communication skills will convert into more actionable insights. This means people listening to a presentation are not reacting with a shrug, but they're actually feeling compelled to do something about what they've just learned. As we went through this list, we've covered knowledge, collaboration, flexibility, communication skills. Not too surprising, is it? It can even feel a bit generic, but you get a sense of what the hiring manager is paying attention to. This is very much what you would be assessed on. So for knowledge, this is the part that you have to look into. The other points are a matter of coming up with examples in your portfolio or CV or during the job interview. Now let's stop for a second and let's change perspective a bit. So far, we're looking at what companies and hiring managers want. A researcher might be reporting to a lead designer or product manager. These people are sitting outside of UX research. What about inside? What are the skills other UX researchers see as top ones to have? Well, in 2018, the ResearchOps community started an initiative led by volunteers involving more than 500 participants across the globe to create a research skills framework. So this could help researchers grow and map out the main skills involved in the work that they did. I'll share the link to the project and the main insights below. You can see the list of skills considering the impact these skills would have in the organization. And you can see here the ones at the bottom, junior researchers would be expected to have. the ones at the top are expected from more experienced senior UX researchers. And you can also see a list of 13 skills related to working well with others, what the ResearchOps community called human skills. It was a lot of work, so I highly recommend you check it out. But if you're new to this, I understand it can feel overwhelming to look at this big list of skills. So to anyone who's starting out, let me give you my own version of the 3 top skills to pay attention to. These are the core of the UX research work. First, critical thinking. Might sound a bit fuzzy. What is critical thinking? It's thinking in a systematic way, not getting carried away with your first thought or intuition. An example of a critical thinker is a scientist. You probably knew that already. But another one is a detective. Can you see why? Because the idea is not to rush into a conclusion of who is the criminal, but to collect evidence and question your hypothesis to make sure you're not jumping into conclusions too soon. In fact, it reminds me of a classic film from the 50s, The 12 Angry Men, as we watch these 12 members of the jury deliberating a guilty verdict with one single juror raising questions about the case. It's a very good illustration of critical thinking. If you want to work on your critical thinking skills, there's this article from the Harvard Business Review that I've linked down below. If you want to hear the headlines, I'll just mention that the 3 steps suggested are: first, question your assumptions; second, reason through logic. So you're constantly asking yourself, is this argument supported by evidence? And the third point is diversify thoughts, meaning interact with others who are outside of your personal bubble. It's key for researchers to be comfortable with people that are not from their social circle. Okay, back to our list of 3 key skills. The first one was critical thinking. We've covered that already. The second one is just having an understanding of human psychology. Even if you don't have a degree in psychology or social science, do you have an interest in reading articles or academic papers on the subject? Before working as a UX researcher, I had some experience with documentaries. And what I've noticed is knowing a bit about psychology came in very handy many times, because there's so many things that can influence what people say and think. And if you're aware of these, you'll distinguish when people say one thing and they mean something else, or you notice someone who is not saying what they actually think. I'm about to make a video on the topic of psychology, so if you're interested, click subscribe and you'll be notified when it comes out. The third skill is curiosity. Is curiosity a skill? Well, it's this desire to learn and absorb information. Being curious about everything is good because the job is very much asking questions. But since we spoke of psychology, I just want to highlight it's useful to be curious about other things as well. For instance, understanding business principles and how a company operates. I'll give an example. When looking for information on a company, have you ever noticed at the bottom of a website they usually have an investor section? Have you clicked there and have you gone through an annual report, one of those 10K forms? This is for investors. It's dry, mostly about numbers. But what I'm trying to say is it's great to consume different kinds of information. So there you go. The 3 skills: critical thinking, knowledge and interest in psychology, and the final one is curiosity. How do you feel about it? Is this you? Do you recognize yourself with these skills? Could you work towards it? If this is helpful in any way, why don't you let me know? As a researcher, I'm always looking for signals. You can like the video, leave a comment, or share with others. It will help me learn what's working. And if you're interested in more videos like this, click on subscribe. It's a great way to nudge me to produce these videos. See you around.